Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Good afternoon, friends and family, and welcome as we celebrate the memorial of my mother, Gloria. My family and I would like to thank you all for your generous love and support. My family and I are very blessed to have you as friends and family. Thank you. My mother was born December 9th, 1933, and lived a great life at the age of 87 when she received a summons to appear before the Lord, and quickly she went. No more pain, no more suffering. My mother came from a family of 5+. It was Uncle Albert, Tony, Eddie, Fernie, and my beautiful Auntie Lulu, who was a great help in our family and a very special person to me, as her and my Uncle Andrew treated me like their own, and I thank them very much. My mother also had a small army of her own, 7 kids. There was my brother David, born in 1954. He is with her now. My sister Dolores, born in 1956. My sister Delia, born in 1957. My sister Dorian, born in 1959. My brother Donald, 1962. My sister Diane, born in 1965. And myself, Dennis, born in 1960. Aside from 7 children, Mom's tree has grown. 15 grandchildren, 24 great-grandchildren, and 3 great-great-grandchildren, and they all smothered her with the love she embedded in us. My mother was a graduate of Garfield High School the year 1952. She had some college, but she had a PhD in love. My mom didn't have much, and that's mostly because she didn't want much. My mom was very simple, never complained, never went to the doctor, never saw her sick. And with 7 rascals to raise, I've never heard her cuss. But one thing my mother did have, and that was a king's ransom of love for us, and she did. My mother loved us, and she loved her grandchildren. She loved all her grandchildren. She loved all kids in general. My mother loved working with kids. After being tormented by 7 of us, she joins the ranks of the school force, went to go work for LA Unified, out of the fire and into the frying pan. But she loved kids. I remember when my mother used to work at school, and sometimes she would bring home some of the kids from school to meet us, so they could know each other and stuff. And I don't ever remember being jealous one time with those kids. That's because my mother gave us plenty of love, and she had love to spare. We were a handful. Well, we were 2 handfuls. My poor mother, she had to endure a lot. 7 different personalities, 7 different attitudes, and 7 kinds of trouble, and we had trouble. We had my mom's head spinning around so fast, she couldn't remember our name half the time, kid you not. She would stand there and say, dick, dick, do, 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 about 3 or 4 seconds, and that was enough time for me to get out the door because I knew it was me. And the good thing is my mother didn't keep grudges. She couldn't, because tomorrow was a whole new battle. We weren't all that bad, 10% of the time. But of these times we were, of course, we got better as we got older, and we learned the walk of life Mom was trying to teach us. We had great times growing up. I remember growing up as a kid, almost every weekend my mom would take us out, even if it was just to the park. One of our favorites was Montebello Beach. those who don't know, it was River by the free, yeah, you know. Mom always used to take us to the drive-in. That was a blast. We used to make our own popcorn, pack our own snacks, get our own drinks, and load everything into my mom's BMW, big Mexican wagon. As soon as Mom got to the drive-in, put the car in park, like Mexicans, we jumped on the roof with our blankets and our pillows, and there we were. And Mom knew how to cook. She was a great cook. I remember we were young growing up, and Mom used to make tortillas, and we used to love that. She would make the homemade tortillas, and we'd almost stand on and watch her the entire time. She would tell us everything she did step by step. And then she would warm them up, put butter on us, and hand it to us one by one. And believe me, we ate them as fast as she could make them. In her later days, Mom had a specialty she would cook. Surprise burritos. Yeah. They were called surprise burritos because you never know when it was inside. It could be anything from macaroni to custard pudding. I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding. Her surprise burritos really consist of leftover foods, and she would make like 20 or 30 of these. And she would hand them out to her neighbors and friends. Even my sisters used to pick them up. Yep. They were called surprise burritos because she forgot what she packed in them the day before. That's right. My mother loved us more than anything, and we loved her more than anything. Right up to her last day, and we spoiled her. We spoiled her well. Especially Diane, my sisters, all my sisters. They did a great job with my mom. They did a great job taking care of her. And I thank you all very much, and I love you all equally as Mom had taught me. Okay? Nope. And I just want to close with this. I remember my mother always loving dance. My mother just loved to dance, and boy, could she dance. Oh. My mother used to dance with Uncle Ferdy in the living room in the front. They would clear out all the furniture, my grandma's house, and they used to go at it. And Lulu would jump in too. And man, I used to love to see them because they looked so professional. I was amazed. It was amazing. Yes, my mother loved to dance. In her later days, with music changing, she came up with a few of her own dances. Unexplainable. But it didn't matter because she loved dancing, and that's all there was to it. At this time, I'd like to thank all of you for your generous support. I mean, my family's overwhelmed by you. Thank you very much. I'd like to say thank you to the ARC for their generous love and support, and thank you for letting us use the church. Thank you to your staff who always go out of the way for people they don't even know. Thank you very much, guys. This church is blessed. Lord, I just want to thank you for giving us a beautiful mother, packed with love. We needed it. And Mom, I want to thank you, Mom, for giving us the gift of loving. We will treasure this and you in our hearts forever. We love you, and we will always miss you. You can go dance with the angels now, Mom. Dance. Thank you.
So, we wore black today, not to depict mourning. Mourning is dead in our hearts, but to honor our mom, her beauty, and her love. Thank you. And we want to thank Jimmy for the beautiful flowers, her friend. Thank you so much, all of you.
In the day of death than the day of one's birth. It's better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will take it to heart. Why is it better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting? Because when you go to the house of mourning, you're able to experience your own mortality. It's a wake-up call. Not all of us are going to live forever in this world. We are degenerating. We say of people that pass on, we say, may they rest in peace. Well, were they resting when they were here? And the answer, no. Life is not about resting. Life is hard. Life is painful. Rest in peace, which means that in eternity, there is peace. The Bible records there's a place in heaven where there are no more tears, no more sorrow, no more pain. You see, a lot of people today are looking for peace, aren't they? Peace. And yet peace eludes them. It isn't when you encounter the Prince of Peace when you experience that peace. I believe with all my heart that Gloria heard the peace and made peace with God. And when you make peace with God, the Bible tells us that they're in the presence of God. What a wonderful feeling to know there's someone else in the presence of God. And so today we welcome you for being here on behalf of all the children. And we thank you for being here. I would like to open up with a word of prayer, if I may. Our wonderful Father, Prince of Peace, My mother's there too. So is my brother. One day we're going to meet again. This is not some fancy flight of my mind. This is what Jesus said. Don't let your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. But I go to prepare a place for you, so that where I am at, you may be there also. And I'm telling you the truth. Where I am, you're going to be there. I will bring you there. It is a place of paradise. There, the thief on the cross, if you're familiar with the story, he's a murderer. He doesn't deserve salvation. He's a knucklehead. And yet, you see the decision, the dire decision of two people. One thief, one murderer is making fun of Jesus. And the other one said, Lord, remember me when you get into your kingdom. And what is Jesus' response? Today you will be with me in, finish it for me.
Paradise.
Paradise. What did he do? He's a knucklehead. Grace of God. The grace of God. One made a quality decision, the other went ahead with his own vile decision to disrespect the Lord Jesus Christ. When David, he always had this eternity mentality. When you have an eternal perspective, you have things, you don't have to strive anymore. King Solomon had riches. He had gold, he had silver, he had rubies, he had expensive, precious gems. He had a corner on wine, he had the corner on perfumes, he had the corner on travel and merchandise. The man was Bill Gates times 20. And yet he says, life is empty. The most famous words, vanity of vanities. All is vanity. Why does he have that attitude? Because he has everything this world has to offer, and yet he feels there's an emptiness inside. When you have an eternal perspective, the Bible says that we have our treasures in heaven. The reality is, naked we came, and naked we shall leave. We take nothing with us. And yet Jesus said that you and I have treasures in heaven by the deeds we made on this earth. King David had this eternal perspective. So when you read with that mindset of eternal perspective, Psalm 23, it's a psalm for us, the living. It's a psalm that is read at every funeral. This is why for a long time I didn't even want to read that, because I hated that psalm. Because everywhere, even in Mexico, in the Marine Corps, or here, I would hear, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I hate that, because they remind me of death. But then I became a Christian, and I began to read the Bible differently. And knowing who David was, I'll read it, and it's for you. Even though Christmas passed by, you already opened your tamales, you already opened your boxes, this is another gift from God today. This is a gift from God. This is David. He's writing as if he's a sheep, and God is a shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. That's all sufficiency. He meets all my needs. Secondly, the Lord makes me to lie down in green pastures. That's my Lord, and He sustains me. He leads me beside still waters. That's tranquility. He restores my soul. That's spiritual health. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for His name's sake. God guides me, He enlightens me, and it's God's will wherever I go through life. And then He says this, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Shadows don't hurt. You see, what He's saying is that in life, we're going through the valley of the shadow of death. You see, Gloria didn't go through the valley of the shadow of death. Gloria went to the real death. She went to the portals of eternity. We're not. The moment you get out, it's raining. If you have to catch the traffic, we live in LA, there's a lot of traffic. And there's a lot of drivers who are driving crazy nowadays. There are people who don't care today. We live in a wild world today. And there are people there who make life very uncomfortable. But more than that, when we go into the shadow of the valley of death, we are dying as we speak. None of us are getting any younger. Oil of Olay can only go so much. Botox can only do so much. Vitamins can only do so much. It's still going down. We're degenerating. I wasn't born bald. I didn't need glasses. Now I do magnifying glasses. I used to run fast. I had 30-inch waist. I used to not even count steps. How many steps are they? I don't care. Now I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12. I can hang. Here I go. What does that mean? It just means that we're getting older. In life, we're going to the shadow of death. But he says, but I will fear no evil. Why? For you are with me. That's no terror. God's comforting. It's his security. He says, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my finisher for me and my enemies. That's reconciliation. This is the time, this is the season for families to bury the hatchet. This is the time. There are people who don't speak to one another. Why? We don't remember why, but we don't talk to each other.
love.